Call to order the first official Zoomed Board of Directors meeting. It is the regular meeting for the Houston Land Bank. It's Thursday, April 9th, 2020. It's 12:20 p.m. I believe we have a quorum, and I will start with roll call. If we will pretend that we are sitting around the horseshoe, we will go in the order that we normally do. And I'll start with Director Castillo.
Mario Castillo, board member.
Carol Galloway, board member.
David Collins.
Graciela Saenz.
Hello.
Nicholas Hall, board member. I don't see Pastor Hall, so next we would.
Curtis Lampley, board member.
Ana Gaines Correa, board member.
Courtney Johnson Rose, board member.
Matt Zeiss, board member.
I think that's all of us. So thank you. It was a really good exercise. Did I lose anybody? Did I forget anybody? All righty. So we'll move forward to item number 2, swearing in of Krista Stoneham, the mayor's appointment for the board liaison ex officio board member. The swearing in will be done by Director Johnson Rose. Ms. Stoneham is the division director of the City of Houston's Complete Communities. Welcome.
Well, welcome. Well, good afternoon to the board. How is everybody managing? Doing okay? I pray that your families are doing well and safe. And we all are processing this interesting time. But we are very blessed to have Krista Stoneham joining our board as an ex officio member. She is a very talented planner, has a wonderful background. She's worked with the city for several years, first in planning. She was the lead planner with the Complete Communities and Acres Home, which was the kickoff Complete Communities area. Now she is a division manager for the Complete Communities program, working across the city in all of those key areas. But she is a wonderful person, very committed to affordable housing, and a true asset to us. She has 3 degrees, all from Prairie View A&M University, which is how she and I met. I had the honor of being one of her professors while there at Prairie View. But she has a bachelor's in architecture, a master's in architecture, and a master's in community development. So again, we are very blessed to have her here, and thank you, Chairman Hall, for the honor of being able to do the oath of office for her to join our board. So Krista, if you are there, this is not how we would typically do this, but we are making it work. If you could raise your right hand. And thank you, Gracie, for sending this over to me. Please repeat your name. What's your name?
I, Krista Stoneham.
Do solemnly affirm.
Do solemnly affirm.
That I will faithfully execute the duties.
That I will faithfully execute the duties.
Of the office of board liaison ex officio board member. Good luck. Of board liaison ex officio board member.
Of board liaison ex officio board member.
Of the Houston Land Bank.
Of the Houston Land Bank.
And I will, to the best of my ability.
And I will, to the best of my ability.
Preserve, protect, and defend.
Preserve, protect, and defend.
The Constitution and laws of the U.S. and this state.
The Constitution and laws of the U.S. and state.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Well, you are official and welcome to our board. We look forward to working with you.
Thank you.
Welcome. I'll do official.
I love it.
Round of applause. Welcome to the board. Wonderful to have you. Thank you, Director Johnson Rose, for that wonderful
Thank you.
vacation. So we will move forward to item number 3, public speakers. I will turn it over to President Haynes.
Can't hear. Yes, sorry. It's the participants scroll on the right, and so I couldn't unmute myself fast enough. So I believe we have two public speakers registered: Stacy Flores from Mayberry Homes, as well as Sharon Mayberry of Mayberry Homes. And I see they're here through both phone and possibly video. So I will hand it over the mic to either Stacy or Mr. Mayberry to speak first.
Well, hi, good afternoon. So this is Sharon Mayberry, and I too echo Courtney your sentiments. We actually joined each other via phone, myself and our staff with a moment of prayer. So not often enough, or not nearly often enough, do we get an opportunity to do that, to come together as one and pray not only for ourselves and our families, but certainly for our nation. You know, now is a trying time. I think we all know that, and perhaps some of you all have known someone that's close to you, and perhaps not close to you, but know of someone that's contracted the virus. So it's certainly real, to say the least. We've had someone that was very close to us that contracted the virus. They have been quarantining for some time. They're strong and are coming out on the other side of it. So we're very happy about that. So I would suggest that we all take heed, and I'm sure that we will, to everything that our mayor and certainly our county officials, city officials are saying, to stay safe. You know, do what we can to make sure that those around us are staying safe as well. Having said that, certainly want to again thank you all for allowing us to take part in your board meeting today. You know, it's been quite some time since we have worked Mayberry Homes with the City of Houston, the Affordable Housing Initiative, by way of the HCDD department. You know, we go back some 15 years in building affordable housing. I don't know that we've ever experienced anything quite like what we're dealing with now, you know, other than Harvey. And Harvey was one that it was pretty devastating. But this is altogether something new, folks. Something that you know, we have to take and rally together and certainly lean on each other in ways that we've not ever done before as it relates to partnering. I was talking with one of our bankers the other day, and he asked the question, quite frankly, Sharon, you know, how's your business? And I did about as much as I could and stand up and said, I think we're fine. You know, hopefully we're going to be able to take and ride this wave and do well at the end of the day, be able to say that, you know what, we were able to stand tall and tighten our bootstraps and make sure that we come out on the other side. Having said that, you know, we're leaning on our partners as well to make sure that they're doing all that they can to make certain that they're playing as big a part, the biggest role as they can to help us continue our initiative of affordable housing. And you all are part of that. It's the reason I say that. HLB, formerly Laura, I don't know that we've had the struggles that seemingly we've had in the recent days. When we were Laura, seemingly things were moving a little bit faster than what they're moving now. I don't know if you all had an opportunity to see the letter that we have put together for the board members, and maybe I'll take a moment and just ask if you all had an opportunity to review the letter that we put together.
We read it. I read it.
Good, good, good. So with that, it should have pointed to, I believe we have 9 lots over on Hoffman. Actually, we have a total of 11, 9 that are through HLB, and we have some in 5th Ward. And I don't know about 3rd Ward. Danielle, are you a part of the call?
I am.
Okay, great. And I'm sorry, Dan, you all got, yeah, do we have lots in 3rd Ward as well or not? Or is it just 5th Ward? And
Just 5th Ward and Trinity Gardens.
Okay, well, 3rd Ward is with Midtown then, I'm sorry. So having said that, these are lots that we've had for some time, and you know, our biggest issue, and if you all don't mind, I'm gonna just kind of jump right in and discuss some of the obstacles that we've had, and hopefully we can hurl them together, and again, being able to continue this long partnership that we've had and come out airing on the better side and producing affordable housing. We've had these lots, and seemingly we've had one, and looks like, Ann, you and I kind of talked offline briefly last week about a second bank, and when I say offline, via email, a second bank that was potentially we were going to lose. if we don't get past this issue with this reverter. And I'd hate to see that happen because these are institutions that have been very supportive for us for a number of years. I said a number of years. Our youngest relationship stems about 12 years back. We have some that we have been in business with, have done business with for as long as 20 years. So, you know, they have given all indications that they do not desire to move forward with this reverter that's in place. And it was my understanding that we had gotten past that at the last board meeting, and for whatever reason, that didn't get articulated down to us like perhaps it should have. Now, I won't go into that, but I just want to make sure we're very clear that in order for us to move forward, we're going to have to take and do a waiver for that, much like we've done when we were working with Laura. As it relates to being able to get the banks what they need and feeling comfortable to lend the money that's going to need to be lent to build the homes that we need to build. Quite frankly, without this partnership via the banks, that is, there's no construction. HLB is not putting any funding into this deal as it relates to financing. And perhaps that might be something that we can consider if, in fact, we're not able to get the banks where we need to allow HLB to finance the projects. So, you know, and I know that that's not on the agenda, but it's something to give some thought to as it relates to financing the projects for the lots that we have. I don't want to, you know, be long-winded without maybe pausing to see if there's any questions as it relates to the request for the waiver of the reverter to be put in place and making certain that we understand that without that, our lenders won't move forward. So I'll take a moment and pause there to see if there's any questions before we move any further with perhaps our comments.
No questions for me.
Okay. All right. So, you know, the only other thing that we have as it relates to public comments is going to be we have made a request and have not heard anything back from staff on the changing of the plans and its pricing. In the letter that we provided, the pricing that was set forward showed that it was not in line with the performance that HLB had back in 2017 or 2018, I believe. 2017 is when it was initially inserted, the performance it is. We've since have contracted and have completed and closed all but one, and only because that one is pretty stringent. It has a 50% AMI for the buyer. You know, and when we did these first round of houses at the tune of about 2.3 million, and this was when Mayor Parker was in office, I thought when they came to us, said, Sharon, we have this grant and we want you all to take and play a part in it. Thought it'd be great to have buyers that would be able to get an opportunity at 50% AMI. And needless to say, it was proved to be very challenging to find a buyer that was at 50% AMI. There was a whole line of folks that were at that level as it relates to income, but like oil and water, if you're not making very much money, then chances are your credit is not going to be what? It's not going to be good. So we had homes that, while it was a grant that afforded us an opportunity to build the houses, a grant by way of HCDD, we had homes that sit on the ground for over 2 years after they were completed to find the right buyer. Buyer after buyer after buyer after buyer would come forward having the income, but not the credit to go with it. So it proved very challenging. Danielle did a very good job with holding it down and making certain that we got the right buyer and we were able to finish hold. What came out of that in perpetuity was the last round of funding that we went in and built the last 4 homes with the NSP funding. And the NSP stands for Neighborhood Stabilization Program. Again, funding that was given to us by way of HCDD to build these homes, for which that, you know, oddly enough, it tied up funding for a long time that really kind of created a delay in some parts with the lots that we've had on Hoffman, as well as Amboy and Salinas. And you and I, you can kind of remember us talking about this perhaps a year ago now. You know, so we're here today having completed the homes. And I believe, Danielle, do we have a closing date for that one that we have at 50%?
We are hoping to close over the next 3 weeks. We're still waiting on some information back from HCDD.
Right. So that in itself, when you think about, and thank you for that, and when you think about that, it's a process, and certainly when you have the layers and other things that are involved, it creates, I guess, for us in parts, when we're financing the deals. In this case, we're not, because HCDD financed the deal, so it takes a lot of risk out. But when you get a buyer like that, that's having some challenges with closing, either because they're looking for a subsidy or not, that creates a burden for someone. In this particular situation, where these lots that we are having questioned, we're going to be providing the financing. All that risk is placed on our shoulders, not on HCDD, not on HLB, none of which will be able to say that, hey, look, where are we with closing? How soon can we get these homes closed? Because the meter is ticking. So we'll make sure that you all are taking that into consideration as we're moving forward with hopefully being able to honor our request. That there's a lot of liability that are placed on our shoulders to make sure that we can get these homes built and get them closed. So we have the reverter that's, I'm sorry?
I'm sorry, Mr. Mayberry, for sake of time. I appreciate your comments. We're going to move forward with the agenda. I believe the item's still on the agenda for discussion. It's not an executive session, so if you want to be part of that discussion.
I'm sorry. I'll wrap up again. And thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm sorry for being so long-winded, and thank you all so much. I'll wrap up with the thought that, so the two things is just to review the pricing that we have for the product, and knowing that 4 of the homes that we have are already under contract. Land has been cleared, field has been brought in to put us to the proper elevation. Plans have been submitted for permitting, so we're ready to go. We just need the support of the partnership. Thank you so much, Mr. Chair.
We appreciate it, Mr. Mayberry. It's very informative. It helps us with this time and what our builders are dealing with. It's always important to know. So thank you for that. Any other public comments? I believe we had a director join us. I believe Director Jackson joined in for the record. Hello, welcome. Any other directors? Okay, so moving forward, item number 4, adopt the minutes of the regular meeting held on February 13th, 2020. Any comments? Get a motion?
Motion to approve the minutes.
Motion made by Director Castillo. Second.
Second.
Second by Director Zeiss. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, the minutes are entered. Before I get to my formal comments for item number 5, I will note that item number 8 of the agenda has been pulled, so we will not be hearing that item. It will actually be through the Director Zeiss is going to give some comments regarding that. So I want to start today. I really want to thank our staff and our board for staying engaged, focused on our mission during this challenging time. I also extend the same sentiment that Director Johnson Rose and Mr. Mayberry said. The Land Bank is here for our staff, for our directors, and for our partners. I want to highlight that the current economic climate and the need to do that all that we can to support our builders. It's not just about affordable housing. It's also about affordable housing builders and trying to keep everybody employed and moving forward in a safe manner. The need for affordable housing has only continued to grow despite the economic headwinds. And I just can't thank everyone enough for not losing sight of that. I also want to thank the mayor, city council, and our staff for the work in approving our new grants. We have funding that is very well welcomed and it's very much appreciated. So thank you everyone for all that you do. Thank you for being on this meeting. I will try to move forward in a timely manner because I know everybody has perhaps children at home or other things to go to. So moving forward to the committee reports, item number 6A, Finance Committee, Director Zeiss.
Thank you, Chair. The Finance Committee did meet on Tuesday, the 7th. As you alluded to, the grants from City Council were approved last week. And once they're executed by the Mayor and Housing, we can submit our invoices for the previous operational months, July through March, which will be a little bit more than $700,000 coming back to the land bank, which is much needed. I do not have updated financial position for March. Waiting to receive that, and as soon as I do, I'll distribute it to the board members. As you noted on item number 8, Glass Ratner was our financial consultant, and they did complete a comprehensive and thorough investigation or examination of our financial practices and accounting practices. They had 3 central recommendations. The first was to hire a full-time internal finance and accounting individual, which we're moving forward on that, and we're pretty close. The second was to identify ways for a permanent backup of the financial books and supporting documentation that was both on-site and backed up off-site as well. So we're reviewing ways to do that effectively and cost-effectively. And then the third recommendation was to reconfigure our asset management program, or inventory management program, between QuickBooks and EPP. This way, the suggestions they're making are to better track our capitalized costs and expense costs around our properties, so that when we do need to invoice back to housing for the new home development program, it'll be a lot more streamlined process, and it'll be more easily identifiable. It'll also help with budgeting process going forward as well. Let's see. Speaking of budget, Ann has started an outline for the budget for the next 2 fiscal years. We plan on a meeting in May to present to the board and gather input from different programs and different committees, and then hopefully have a final budget in June to present and approve to the city. The committee also discussed reporting from staff around the status of invoices from the land bank to the city of Houston. Just trying to identify some bottlenecks there so we can get that moving faster and alleviate any cash flow issues we've had in the past, just by trying to make sure we have all of the information gathered in one place that we need to support the invoices to the city housing. It's been a Herculean task trying to get these invoices in the proper format that the city wants and getting them to identify what format they want. But now that we have that, I think it's time to kind of streamline these process so we don't run into cash flow issues like we have in the past. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Director Zeiss. Moving forward to item number 6B, Program Committee. Director Lampley.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the Program Committee met on March 26, 2020 to discuss a number of items before the committee for review and consideration. We reviewed an update from staff. We received an update from staff on the status of first round of administrative reviews of builders' proposals for homes to build from the selected builders out of our latest RFQ proposal, with the next round of review to be by the Program Committee for recommendations for final selection of builders for board and contract award approval. Director Haynes may speak more about that in her, President Haynes may speak more to that in her report. The committee and staff also received 3 separate requests for contract modifications, which pertained to sale price increases on 9 Hoffman lots in contract 07131704. The second was for plans and specs changes on 2208 Sam Wilson lot, contract 092716-01, and the third was for a sales price increase for plans and specification changes on Selena and Amboy lots in contract 10091709. The committee reviewed all of the pertinent information submitted by staff on behalf of the builder, in this case, Mayberry Homes, and determined that a phone conference with the builder would enable us to better determine the entirety of the request and allow the builder to provide more information and or clarifications to questions. Staff and committee members and the builder and staff participated in the phone conference on April 2nd, where the requests were discussed in detail. based on the amount, the dollar amount, the monetary amount of the changes being requested by the builder, which constitutes a significant change to the builder's original contract. The committee decided to move the request forward to the board for review and approval. The meeting was very productive and informative for both partners. I believe we both are a little more appreciative of our long-term working relationship as a result of the meeting, and should continue them with all of our builders. I'm proud to say that at the end of the day, we are both advocating for more affordable housing in the city. The program committee is recommending that the change request be approved subject to board review and discussion. And those items are on today's agenda for discussion and action items. In addition, the committee discussed the reverter waiver request from Mayberry Homes. The builder has previously requested that a reverter rights be waived, and the committee recommended to the board, who subsequently approved it on September 10th, 2019, that staff utilize a pilot waiver for those purposes, for these purposes of conditionally approving and waiving the reverter rights with certain stipulations to ensure that the builder was complying with the Houston Land Bank program and contract. Staff and the builder were successfully able to utilize a reset agreement, which was a compilation of pilot, waiver, and a standard agreement regarding reverter lots with one lender, that lender being Unity Bank, for the lot on Salina Street. The lender agreed to the terms of the contract, which allowed the land bank to retain its rights and the builder to still obtain financing during construction. On April 2nd, the builder has again requested the land bank provide them with a waiver of reverter rights so that they can obtain financing during construction, much as mentioned in public comment. The builder informed staff that two of their other lenders will not accept the terms of the reverter in the current agreements. Staff has drafted and committee has approved a waiver of reverter rights amendment, pilot waiver, to accommodate the builder's request. The committee is recommending the waiver of converter rights agreement, remember, as a pilot waiver, to the board for approval regarding the builder's request only. This builder's request only, being Mayberry Homes. The waiver of reverter rights agreement is on today's agenda for consideration and approval. The committee also reviewed two encroachment issues affecting two of our lots, one on Brinkley and Sunnyside, and one at 2208 Sam Wilson in the Trinity Gardens area. Both issues have been addressed and being worked out. I want to thank Mayberry Homes and his team for addressing the encroachment on Sam Wilson and readying the property for construction. The encroachment caused an impact to the lot size, which is one that we received a request for plans and specification changes. That item is on today's agenda for consideration as well. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Director Lampley. Moving forward to item number 6C, Partnership Committee, Director Johnson-Rose.
Good afternoon, team. We did have a partnership team meeting, and I appreciate the staff helping us make sure that that happened. We reviewed updates to the website, and I'm very pleased with how that's coming along, and that even in this time period that we're in, we're able to continue to make updates and continue to make that a resource for the community and our builders, etc. We also, over the past month, had the ability to do a introduction call with HISD and their Director of Real Estate, Miss Lisa Love. It was a quick call that we were able to do just to basically update her on some of the activities that we've been involved in as Houston Land Bank and make her familiar with what we do. Ms. Love has been in that position for about a year or so. So this was our first time able to interact with her. We think that there's some opportunities for maybe some potential partnerships in the future for affordable housing with sites that HISD has in inventory. But a quick introduction, but we were glad to at least continue to move things forward during this period. Vincent, is there anything else you want to add or Ann?
The only thing I'd like to add is that I appreciate you co-chairing this with me and us working together to move us forward during this time and through our endeavors as we proceed. I was excited about the introduction meeting. I was also look forward to the opportunity to find out what property they have that's in the completed communities and see if there's any opportunities for that. We talked about the 3013 bolt ribbon cutting ceremony. We talked about Nick getting his drone out and maybe recording it. But I think it's something we could do with the garden as well as we make a welcome basket for fruit and vegetables for the new family homes and see how we implement that program across all the homes, our own home buyers that buy homes on our programs.
Excellent. Thank you, Vincent.
Thank you.
Does that conclude your report?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
All righty. So item number 6D, Director Marquez, did you want to provide a formal marketing committee update or?
That's it.
Okay, moving forward, item number 6E, Oversight Committee, Director Castillo.
Thank you, Chair. The Oversight Committee has had a couple of meetings since we last convened as a board, one on March 10th, where we discussed a number of items. One was the lot disposition contract template and reviewed the major changes that were made from the prior contract. Those changes have been summarized in a memo for board members. And then we also discussed a process for within 6 months or so reviewing how those changes are performing so that we can adjust them if needed because there are a number of significant changes. So we've, from an oversight perspective, discussed how that's going to work. The committee also reviewed the outstanding lot summary. And then we've partnering with the program committee because they're going to need to know, how those builders are performing from a construction standpoint, but from an oversight standpoint, we want to review them for contract compliance. So we discussed that, reviewed that. We will be checking that on a monthly basis moving forward. And then we did discuss the policies and procedures and trying to figure out a way to get input to the ad hoc committee to finish reviewing the document. And what we settled on was working with staff to set up phone conversations on key sections of the document that need to be reviewed, and then moving forward with finalizing the policies and procedures. We also met on April the 3rd to discuss the item up for consideration today with regards to Mayberry, and then also how to, be productive and continue to meet in, this new virtual format as we're all staying at home as much as possible. And I just want to thank the staff for facilitating our meetings and being very helpful with that. And that would conclude my report.
Thank you, Director Castillo. Moving forward to item number 7, President's Report. President Haynes.
Thank you. In the interest of time, I will be short. I'm sure people would love hearing that. But really the most exciting thing is hearing some of the committee reports actually I've already reported what needs to be reported. But I did want to mention one thing. We had a great conversation, a few of us, with Councilmember Thomas, who is the head of the Housing Committee, a couple of weeks ago. And that was a very productive meeting to discuss not just, you know, update on the land bank and land bank activities, but also to hear a little bit more about how she sees the housing committee going forward as a real housing and community development resource, and really interested in making sure that we're making more regular updates to the housing committee. So that was quite productive. I will, you know, and with Mayberry Homes on the phone, you might be able to do a similar type of idea like this, but we are really excited on 3013 Bolt and doing a virtual ribbon cutting, maybe the world's first, and we'll figure out how to do that between drone and everybody being on a Zoom and cutting a ribbon. That should be closing later this month. We're very excited about that. I think, you know, I have a PowerPoint I've distributed to you with some images that sort of go on. We're in a new normal. We're doing daily calls with the staff to keep everybody on task and moving forward. And certainly, I have felt that the Zoom meetings in committee has been really productive. I mean, it's sort of something about having the information right in front of you, which has been very helpful. We're working really closely right now from a legal standpoint, aside from things that have been on your agenda for today, with HCDD on the Chodo program. You may remember that 20 of our lots are reserved for that program per board vote quite a bit ago. We're still trying to work out some of the mechanics of how that program will work. So that's actually taken quite a bit of time. Inventory, as of today, we have 557 properties in the inventory, 245 holding for housing and their programs. Sam, when he introduces the lot disposition contract, will talk a little bit more about the HLB programs and the new home development program update. Have had 59 homes sold in 2019, and as of today, 43 are still under development from prior contracts, including many of the ones that are being discussed today. We do believe that we have 11 homes sold by our builders to date in 2020. And again, I'm doing the highlights, but you've got the document in your board packet. The HLB Home Initiative is in full swing. Applications closed on March 4th, and staff has been very busy at work looking at all the proposals for lot sales. And we also have done quite a bit of work on our lot maintenance oversight, both with 4 new contractors and doing oversight for their first month of work. We've been, especially given the current situation, trying to carry that balance between the essential work that's necessary, keeping people employed, but safe social distancing for all of our various contractors. We've been verifying properties all across the city for legal and compliance, and we've addressed only 2 DON violations this month, which means that we are increasing our lawn cutting and maintaining properties appropriately so that we're having fewer notices from DON. We've been finalizing some of the procedures around invoicing for the lot maintenance, but that is ongoing. Not to steal Sam's thunder, but there are 18 houses in the new home development program that have sold, and there's a closing today, so that makes 19 houses. We have 5 additional under contract and 11 are listed for sale. We're again working with the showings, trying to balance the safe social distancing and cleanliness practices within the houses, and also trying to keep things moving within those home sales. Additionally, for the May board activities, there will be a few concentrated spurts of conversations. Hopefully we can be in person, if not digitally, to really sort of do some strategic planning for next year, making sure that those objectives, those goals are being translated into the budget proposal for June and July, and making sure we're hearing from you on all the ways that we could continue to improve our practices and our partnerships. We do hope to hold a few things on your calendar in the next couple of days, and certainly we'll have to sort of play it by ear on how many need to be virtual and how many can be in person. And that, I think, is the super highlights, and hopefully we'll be able to dig into some of the issues. So unless there's any questions.
Any questions? All righty. Does that conclude your report? Okay, moving forward to item number 9, possible consideration of possible action for lot disposition contract template, the new HLB housing initiative. Vice President DK.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and directors. Good afternoon. Apparently I didn't get the memo. I was waiting for you guys out here. Just kidding. Well, thank you. We're moving forward, as a number of you have said already today, we're moving forward with the HLB housing initiative. Just a quick rundown. I'll let Doris actually go through the contract piece, but a quick rundown on the program. We launched at the the middle of February and closed applications on March 4th. This land bank housing initiative was a pilot to sell 26 lots in Sunnyside to our approved builders in our program. The goals of this program really were to add additional new affordable homes to the marketplace and incentivize affordable pricing through managed competition. It's also an opportunity for us to test new program guidelines that reflect our organization's values and contract instruments that ensure builder compliance. This is also an opportunity for us to support the development of startup home builders committed to providing quality, affordable housing, and provide staff and the board with data and feedback to inform future program policy. To date, we've received 8 applications on 14 of the 26 lots. We're in an extensive review period right now, getting ready to make a recommendation to the program committee for their review. And as part of our process, one of the things that we have been in the process of amending is our contract documents, which, as I mentioned before, will allow us to better assure compliance during this process and make sure that everyone understands their expectations for participating in this program. So we've learned a lot over the last several years, and I think we've tried to do the best job that we could to come up with contract vehicles and term sheets that reflect what we expect from our builders, and so that we are putting together quality, affordable housing. But I'll let Doris talk more about the actual contract.
Okay, good afternoon. I'm
Good
just going to read a few tidbits from the memorandum that we had for last month that we never got to. So
this is this month's board packet, that is page 15.
And Andy, you want me to go ahead and share it, or?
You can read through it unless you go for it.
Okay, sorry. Let's see. The LAR program had 2 contract disposition contracts over the many years of the program. Although they were updated every few years over time, these contracts reflected the prior programs, which was a standard purchase program and the dollar lot program. All lot sales in the past 2 years of the organization were limited to board-approved contracts that occurred prior to August 2018 and followed the prior programs under which the lots were approved. These contracts were edited over the years by Winstead and issued by Winstead on behalf of LAR for each sale. In the past few months, the program committee has worked closely with the staff to update the core template contract to reflect the guidelines and the values of the new lot disposition program, as well as reflect all of the compliance issues that staff has observed on all the contracts to date. The improvements have been made to assure a better contract vehicle under which builders will be responsible to the ultimate goals of the program. This contract will be used for each individual lot sale and will be introduced to the builder in an in-person meeting, and a term sheet will be signed. Additionally, there will be staff oversight through monthly reporting and site visits, and penalties assigned for any out of compliance issues. The key to a successful program requires both a solid contract, clear terms, and communication to the builder and oversight. These are some of the key changes to the previous form, the lot purchase and development contract, and the rationale behind their proposed closing. Builders will no longer be able to select lots to hold and pay later. All lot purchases must be made at the time of closing. Deed of trust. This instrument will be used to secure the performance of the builder pursuant to the program guidelines and contract. It will be recorded at the time of closing and with the builder in favor of HOB and released upon a satisfactory builder closing to the home buyer. Monetary damages. These damages will be assessed against builders who do not abide by the contract and program guidelines. Earnest money. This tool will be utilized to ensure that the builder is serious about the purchase of a lot and will encourage them to do their own due diligence before purchasing. Administrative fee. This fee, which will apply to each additional house being built per lot, would be instituted to cover the extra staff work hours that it takes to facilitate the construction and administrative process to closing. This is not anticipated on all or many lots, just some of the larger lots. Program guidelines. Vice President DK has drafted a comprehensive set of guidelines that were developed to problem solve some of the key compliance issues, such as property taxes, qualified home buyer certification, and mowing and maintenance of lots after closing. These guidelines should provide the builders with more detailed information about the entire lot disposition process and requirements from purchase to sale. Residence definition, minimum residential construction standards. Staff wishes to implement minimum construction standards to ensure that the houses being sold through the program meet a certain quality and prevent homebuyer complaints. Schedule 1. The standard timelines needed to be changed to encompass a 7-month period from beginning to end. This will include 2 months for permitting, commencement of construction, and 5 months for construction, completion of construction. If a property has additional work such as infrastructure or replatting, we will definitely take that into consideration. Term sheet. This document will memorialize the key terms of the contract and will be reviewed with the builder before execution of the contract. The Builder Program Committee is recommending that the revised lot purchase and development contract be approved by the board.
Thank you, Ms. Harris. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Director Lampley,
Second.
seconded by Director Zeiss. Any discussion, questions, discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All righty, it is approved. Moving forward to item number 10. Bear with me on this. Consideration and possible action for revised pilot waiver of reverter rights for Mayberry Homes on lots 1, 9 I'm going to call these actually separately, so we're going to do 10-1. 9 Hoffman Streets, actually I'm going to call them together. 9 Hoffman Street lots, prior approved contracts. Contract number 07131704. The HCADs are 0660250080805, 0660250080810, 0660250080811, 0660250080813, 0660250080812, 0660250080814, 0660250080817, 0660250080821, 0660250090934. And are there any additional HCADs to add to that agenda item?
Yes, and I just need to grab the piece of paper, but Mayberry Homes has requested that a Collingsworth and I believe a second lot to be added to this waiver. And let me just, as Doris goes through the memo, I will search the email to get those numbers for HCAD, unless Doris has them in front of her.
Okay, so I will call this, like I said, item 10-2 in order with 1. So this is 0 Amboy Street, and I think that these are the contract number that references those additional 2 HCADs. So it's contract number 100911709, HCADs 039343, and I didn't get this right last time, but hopefully I do this time. 0000009. And then I actually have here, I believe that it is 0 Brewster Tracks 8 and 9, Block 8, and 3120 Collinsworth Trail, track 10, block 8.
Yes, thank you for getting that. I have it in front of me.
That being said, is there a motion on the revised pilot waiver for reverter rights?
I move that the revised be approved.
Motion properly made.
Make-
By Galloway.
Second.
Second by Director Marquez. Did I get that correct?
Yes.
Any discussion? Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? All righty, item number 10 is approved. And now I believe we're going to go to closed executive session. If anyone's a member of the public, we're going to ask that you log off.
Actually, members of the public can go into a waiting room if they prefer, but we cannot predict when we will come out of the executive session, and we will have a recording of the final public session as well.
So I will give a few minutes. And let me know if...
Yep.
Do I have electronic?
We have everyone in the right place, because Vincent somehow went out into the waiting room, but he's coming back in. Oh, there he is.
Down here.
Okay, good. And so just to clarify with this process, which is brand new for all of us, Gracie, you are here, and you will have to unmute if you would like to say something. Consistent with our last executive session, we do not have the builder in the room. They are in the waiting room. Just wanted to confirm that. Obviously, if the board wishes and based on general counsel provisions, they can be back in the room, but right now they are technically out of the room, meaning they do not see or hear the conversation. And we have tested this a few times.
That's fine. That could be done by invitation if you need for him to come in and answer questions.
Okay.
All righty, so I'll call the
One
item.
moment, let me just double check everybody that's in the room. We have non-members of the board, our staff that's been involved in executive session items, as well as Gracie, Greg Irwin, and Mark Lanowski, who's taking notes. And I'm going to pause the recording during the executive session.
Do you have Tony? Is Tony in?
She left the meeting. She had a conflict starting at 1 o'clock, and as well, Courtney is also gone. So I believe we still have quorum, correct?
Let's see.
We need 7.
It's 7.
It's 7 of us?
Yes.
So I will call item number 11, consideration of possible.
Yes, that would be good, that the adjournment of the executive session took place at a certain time.
So before we do that, Director Castillo is no longer on.
Did he
So
drop?
That creates a problem, doesn't
he
it?
had to run. He had to leave the meeting, but he already voted.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask for counsel from guidance from counsel on this.
And by the way, I believe that I was putting this back into public session. Sharon was in the waiting room, but he did not come back in. So we have everyone out of the waiting room and inside this public session, and we are now.
And before we go live, I want to ask Gracie again, what are the implications, since we've already held the vote, before we go back to open session?
Do we have a quorum?
No.
We have a quorum if we
Yes.
have 7.
On is still on.
Don't we have 7?
We have 6.
7.
Yes.
Yes,
I think we have 7.
7.
We have a quorum. President Haynes, please let me know when we're in
Who's
public.
the 7th? Who's the 7th person?
Anna,
Oh, okay. I got you.
Okay, we are now recording and back in session.
All right, executive session's closed. We are now open session. It is 1:40 p.m. I'm going to call item number 11, executive session item. Consideration of possible action for acquisition of real property from the city of Houston for the new home development program. It's HUD 031-117-0005. It's 1100 Frawley in Lindell Lift Station. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Director Marquez, seconded by Director Zeiss. Any discussion? Any discussion?
This is number 11, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to actually patch Director Castillo in right now. Please bear with me.
I have a question if patching him in is acceptable.
Director Castillo, you on the phone?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to call the item again. Item number 11, it's now in public session. It's consideration of possible action for acquisition of real property from the City of Houston for the new home development program, HCAD number 031-117-000-0005, 1100 Frawley Street in Lindell Lift Station. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Director Marquez.
Second.
Second by Director Zeiss. Discussion. I believe the question was posed by Director Lampley whether or not Mr. Castillo joining the meeting and the item being read.
I think the only situation is if there was any question as to whether this individual is not who they say they are. In light of the circumstances and how this is being conducted, I don't think there should be an issue.
Thank you, Gracie. All right, we have a motion, second. And any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Raise your hand and if you
Aye.
Abstain.
Opposed?
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 So let the record reflect that's 4 in favor. It's Director Hall, Director Zeiss, Director Marquez, Director Castillo, 1 member abstaining, Director Collins, and 3 members in opposition against the item, Director Lampley, Director Yanez Correa, and Director Aguirre. The motion carries. Moving forward to item number 12, consideration of possible action for construction plan and sales price modifications for contracts with Mayberry Homes. It's contract number 07131704, contract number 09271601, and contract number 100911709. A motion.
We lost you.
Can you hear me?
I can't hear you.
Can I get a motion for item number 12 on the agenda? Consideration of possible action on the Mayberry Home contracts. Motion made by Director Castillo.
Second.
Second by Director Galloway. Any discussion?
Discussion. I'd like to ask for an amendment to the motion for staff to review the builder's profit from an accounting of a line item that the calculation was derived on 15% of the total bid price by including the builder's profit as part of that bid price. Therefore, I ask that we adjust the bid price according to not to exceed 15% profit of the builder's profit.
Motion made by Director Lampley for an amended motion, and it's 15% profit to builder not to exceed 15%, exclusive of the 6% sales commission.
Not the sales commission, the
Correct.
builder's profit.
The sales.
That's the gross total
The
project
gross.
costs.
Right.
Yes.
The gross.
The commission shall be excluded from the amount that the 15% profit shall apply to.
No, his accounting includes all soft cost
Right.
in his total bid price.
We are the
His
commission-
builder's profit,
Out,
profit is a double entry.
Right.
And so I'm asking that we make the adjustment on only the builder's profit line item.
I think we're saying the same thing with just different words.
But I'd like,
the commissions will be backed out of the equation. Okay, so back out the commissions, and the 15% profit margin only applies to the costs, not the commissions. Correct?
15% applies to
the actual costs,
the actual
excluding
costs.
the builder's profit and commissions.
Right. So we said the same thing. All right.
Okay.
Seconded by Director Marquez. Any discussion? Discussion. Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All righty. Item number 12 is approved. Item number 13, board member comments. Anybody out there with some comments?
No. Welcome aboard, Ms. Donna. Hello?
Thank you. Thank you so much. Sorry, I had to unmute myself. Thank you all. Hopefully we can meet in person sooner than later.
Good deal.
Look forward to it.
I agree. Thank you, everybody. Practice safe social distancing. Be safe. Take care of your families. Take care of everybody else.
Be safe.
Bye, everyone.
Adjourn.
Bye.
Your time and participation in this novel technology. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take